In today's video, I'm going to be talking about how to live optimally, and I mean internally, externally, every single way possible, how you can really live the exact life of your dreams starting very soon, much sooner than you think, and it just requires a little reorientation. I'll teach you how to do this in the video, so let's get into it. Welcome back to Whole Goals. My name is Andrew Love, and it is my job, as I see it, as the founder, to help you reclaim your mind, heart, body, and soul so that you can become an unstoppable force of goodness in this world, which is ever so needed. And the reason I'm making this video is because you'll notice online, especially if you're looking up this kind of video, that there are a lot of videos about how to live optimally. And there's a lot of talk on fasting, a lot of talk about workout regimens, about how to do meditation and all this kind of stuff. And it's wonderful, it's really helpful. But if you're also a person of depth, then you realize that it's not quite enough. And the reason is this: there are two parts of this conversation and only one gets discussed. That's what I call the primed life. And that's when you're priming your body to be in an optimal state through meditation or prayer, through fasting or certain diet restrictions like being in a state of ketosis or whatever, and through cold showers, things like this that really prime your body. Boy oh boy do they work. I do them all, I love them, they serve me well. But at the end of the day, they're just priming your mind and body, and sometimes your emotions, sometimes your heart as well, but it doesn't address the real fundamental core of your being, which is the spirit. And that's what I want to get into, which is the other half of this conversation. You see, there are many people who become uber successful in whatever vocation they choose, whether it be athletes, whether it be actors or some sort of celebrities, whether it's some sort of politician, and they do really well because they learn how to hack their systems. But there are some very clear limitations to that hacking. So if you really want both a primed life, but a meaningful primed life, then you need to see this from two different angles. And the second one that I haven't really talked about is that of the soul. And here's where the soul comes in. Your soul is really fed by your values, by your beliefs, by a connection to something outside of yourself, something outside of all of this stuff that we see, that you have a connection to the invisible realm, whether you call it the matrix, or the cosmos, or the quantum field, or God, or divine intelligence. That's all very personal, and I don't want to be the one to say one way or another. But what I do know is that the more personal it is, and the less it's like about the structure and the rules of the cosmos, and more about a personal loving being known as God, Allah, Buddha, whatever, that really helps. So in order to have a complete optimal life, you need to have the primed life and what I call the deep life. So you have primed you and you have deep you. When you do things like cold showers and fasting and all that, it's really putting your body into a prime state, your mind into a prime state, but primed for what? The deep aspect of you is to let greatness pour through you. And this is one massive difference that will save your life, is to understand that you, at any point, are not great because of the things you do. You are already great because you're an accomplishment of history, okay? You were born great. That's sealed and delivered. But the things that you do, if they are great, it's because you allowed greatness to pour through from you. In the olden days, thousands of years ago, nobody was a genius. Genius was something that worked its way through you, and that's a very important differentiation. Because when we take ourselves as being genius, then it's all about the ego, and there are so many trappings that will eventually catch up to us and often strangle our potential because we're so focused on me, I'm great. But if you allow yourself to kind of just be a vessel for greatness to pour through, then all of a sudden you are doing so much for this world. And your capabilities will be endless because you're not bound by your ego. You're unfettered, you're unchained, you're unstoppable. control. So that's why if you learn how to prime yourself, you learn the right diet, you learn how to do the cold showers, you learn how to do the meditation, all this stuff to really be in an amazing state of being, and then you can allow your deep self to connect to the eternal potential, then it will come pouring through you, and all of a sudden you become an unstoppable force of good. You see how that works? So there's two sides. Learning how to optimize the physical through all those things that I mentioned, but also connecting them to the eternal. That makes time and space this nexus that exists only within you in that moment, that you are representing now in the most powerful way, and you're letting eternity pour through you endlessly, and all of a sudden there are no limits to what you can do. You can heal other people, you can help yourself, you can come up with solutions to problems that are very much needed in this world, but you cannot do that if you're only priming yourself, if you're only worried about your physical body or your mental well-being. You really have to tap into that unknown, and that is through mysticism, that is through getting to meditation, prayer, scriptures, all this stuff, getting to a higher state, connecting to that eternity, letting the force of the cosmos work through you, and all of a sudden you have superpowers and you are no longer bound by the rules of physics or any of this stuff. There are so many people who are already doing this in the realm of healing themselves from illnesses, emotional trauma, so many different things. You can be liberated so much so that it's almost impossible to believe unless you've seen it or experienced it or know somebody that's been through it. Just know that it's possible. But it really happens at that intersection between your primed self and your deep self. When they're working harmoniously, just watch what happens. That's all I got for you today. If you guys like this video, please subscribe. If you have comments or questions, please leave them below. I love to get back to you. I love to continue this conversation. Love making these videos. I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna nerd out for a second. I love making these videos. It's been a pleasure as always, and I'll see you in the next video.